Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Adelia Davis. I'm a senior at the University of Michigan studying biopsychology, cognition, and neuroscience with a pre-med concentration.
Nice. When and where did you study abroad?
I first studied abroad the spring, summer after my first year here, and that was in South Africa, Pretoria, South Africa, but we also did a lot of traveling around the country. I also went to Kampala, Uganda this past summer, so after my junior year that summer. And this upcoming summer of 2017, I'll be going to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Wow, so lots of opportunities.
Yes, it's a blessing at this school.
Great. So why did you decide to study abroad?
I originally decided to study abroad. It was around the time that Nelson Mandela died, and a lot of news channels were talking about apartheid and his work, and that was the first time that I ever found out in depth what apartheid was and how similar it was to the discrimination that African Americans have faced here in the US. And I felt kind of slighted by the fact that we never talked about this in any of my classrooms growing up, despite having gone to really good schools. So it made me set out on my own journey of self-exploration, as well as wanting to learn more about minorities' history, particularly blacks across the world.
Nice, good to hear. So were finances a concern for you, and if they were, how did you afford to study abroad?
Finances were a concern for me, especially the first time I went abroad, because our programs, you have to accept that your space on the program before you hear how much money you would get. So it's kind of dicey to decide, okay, I'm just going to take this chance and commit to the program before knowing if and how much financial aid I would receive, which was difficult. But I ended up actually receiving full funding, which meant it covered my program fee, my flight, as well as leaving me with enough money for vaccinations and anything else that I would need. So it was a great opportunity, and it made me more confident in applying for other programs, because I realized that because I received financial aid just in general to attend the institution that I go to, that I would be more eligible to receive funds to study abroad again.
Nice. So can you tell us if while you were abroad, if you experienced any discrimination, or did you feel you were treated any differently because of how you identify?
In South Africa, I didn't experience any discrimination. I think more so because their racial history is somewhat similar to the US. But when I went to Uganda, I was pretty surprised, because I went in thinking that I was going to experience this solidarity with other black people in Uganda. But what I quickly realized is that I wasn't regarded as a black person, which was very surprising to me. They called me Mzungu, which actually means white person, despite me being with a group of students that was pretty much half and half, black and white, with some other students of other racial backgrounds as well. But the fact that there were white students there and they were still calling me Mzungu, and I literally had a Ugandan woman, ask me if both of my parents were white, it was very difficult to grapple with, and I had to do a lot of self-reflection and to realize that to them, their definition of white, I fell into that category, and to realize that race is a social construct and there are different definitions of race across the world. So my understanding of it was different than their understanding, and to not take that as something that divided us, but to find other commonalities.
Okay. Did you feel like you had a support system or people you can go to express any concerns while you were abroad?
It was helpful that that program was a faculty-led program, and that our professor who was leading it was actually from Kenya, and she said that other students who she had taken on programs before in Tanzania had similar issues, except in Tanzania there was a wider range of skin complexion, as opposed to Uganda. People there are a little bit darker than in Tanzania, so they saw me as more in contrast to their norm. And so she was there for me to talk to her. But also coming back, I work for the Study Abroad office, and they're very inclusive for having these types of conversations. So I did feel like I had people to come to.
Nice. And lastly, if you had any advice that you can give a student who is undecided or fearful about studying abroad, what advice would you give them?
Just do it. Honestly, just do it, and everything else will fall into place. People are here to help you to be able to have these amazing experiences, and unfortunately these opportunities may not be around forever. Undergrad and really just education in general offers these great opportunities, and you don't know if you'll be able to do it again once you're in a career and your schedule is much more rigid, and maybe once you have a family you don't know if you'll be able to travel because of other things. I really highly suggest trying to take advantage of these opportunities. Even if you have financial concerns, there are scholarships. Even outside of your institution, there are scholarships to help make these dreams possible.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.